Slay the Giant. Slay the Giant. There's a there's a movie, an old movie with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. It's actually a good movie. Baldwin plays a villain type of character, and Anthony Hopkins plays a billionaire who is uh, their plane crashed way out in the vast isolation in Alaska, and these two characters are basically being tracked and hunted. There's a third man, uh, a part of a crew. They were up there for a photo shoot. He's part of the crew, and so the third man gets savaged and eaten by a bear. Now imagine you're out in the wilderness and you watch someone who is part of your group getting mauled and ripped to pieces by a bear. Imagine what that would do for your mood and your sense of your hope for the future and your attitude for going forward, because you're stranded, you're lost, you have nothing, you have no phone, you have no hatchet, you have no gun. They're just stranded and they have nothing but the clothes on their back and a pocket knife. And so they're they basically they have to walk out. Their plane crashed. They've got to walk out, and so they're heading for in the right direction. But they think they are, but then they end up going in a circle, and things are just not going well. And then they find out, oh, they're being hunted by the bear. They're being tracked and hunted by this bear, and there's they know they're doomed. The bear's just toying with them. He's probably waiting until he's not too hungry, not because he just ate one of them. So he's waiting till his hunger gets up before a little more, and then he's going to you know, go after another. And so these guys are terrified because there's no way to fight back. And they did survive a couple of super close uh, calls, but that's all that did was terrorize them. They're being terrorized by a massive 1,000-pound beast that they haven't a prayer. They haven't a prayer of fighting this thing. And so they're victims. They're like victims. And they're on the run, just like victims. But then all of a sudden, and the Baldwin character is basically coming apart at the seams. He's whining and complaining, just like you might expect. And then Anthony Hopkins says and the Baldwin character's going, well, what are we going to do? And then Baldwin looks and he goes, we're going to kill him. We're going to kill him. And it's a powerful moment in the film because they've been victims up to this point, and now suddenly this Baldwin the Anthony Hopkins says, we're going to kill him. Okay, this means he's going to slay the giant. He's going to go up against the monster and kill him. Now that sounds good, but how are you going to do it? Well, he had a plan, and he was a character who was knowledgeable about survival. He paid attention to things like that, and so he had a plan. And it was a dangerous plan, and he might not survive it, but at least there was a pretty good plan. Uh, and so that's what we need to do sometimes in our lives, is we need to slay the giant in our lives. Now, I'm not talking about actual killing here. I'm talking about face our problems. I'm talking about go up against that problem that's been haunting us. That's what we need to do. We need to go out, we need to turn it and face it and slay the monster. There's another story in the Bible. 2,000 years ago, we've got the Exodus, and the Jewish people are going through the desert, and they're headed for the promised land. And then they're getting close, and Moses sends 12 spies into the promised land, and their job is to basically get the facts, find out what Moses wants to prepare to attack and take over the promised land, as God has told them that they can, and obviously they can because God said they can. And so but the spies came back and said, no, don't do it. They're monsters. They're giants. These people were giant people. I don't know if they were like Nephilims or what, half demonic, half man, or these were demon worshiping evil people, but they were also extremely big people, and they lived in walled cities. And the spy says, no, it's not going to work. 10 of them swore, no, we can't do it. We're like grasshoppers next to these people. They said they're like grasshoppers next to these people. So they're just little. They're hopeless compared to these giants. And so the people were like, no, forget about it. All the entire Jewish nation was like, no, no, forget about it. We're not going to do it. That they even wanted to go back and be slaves in Egypt. It was better to die go back and be slaves in the flesh pots of Egypt rather than to face these giants. But there was 2 spies who said, no, no, God has told us we can do it, and we can take the hill. We can do it. We can take the promised land. But unfortunately, the people wouldn't have any of it. And so, ironically, the 10 spies who started this plague of fear ended up dying in the plague of fear. And the 2 who obeyed God and delivered the good report, not the bad report, they delivered the good report that we can take it. We can take the land. Those 2 were the only ones who survived 40 years later to enter the promised land, along with essentially a whole new generation who wasn't part of the original one who went against God. So, and then Caleb, who was one of the 2, was always obedient. He never failed to obey the Lord, and he was fearless in fighting against the giants of the promised land. And he's remembered reverently and honorably because of it. He's remembered with great honor because of his courage and because he was fearless in facing the giants and slaying the giants. And in our own lives, we need to follow the good report. We need to pray and find out what the right thing to do is, and then we need to go after our problems and not respond to fear, but do the right thing and respond with faith and doing the right thing that we can. We have to slay the giant, because each of us has a giant in our own life, and we can't be like those guys running through the woods, victims in the woods being chased by a giant. At some point, we have to say, enough. We have to turn around and face that giant, just like David and Goliath. David faced that giant. All the Israelites were standing aside, cowering in fear. All these great warriors were cowering in fear next to this giant Goliath. But David, a little boy, said, I will kill him. You do not go against the word, do not blaspheme the name of the Lord. You may have a sword and a spear, but I come in the name of the Lord. And that's what he did. He went out there and he slayed Goliath, the giant. So that's the message for today. Slay the giant. It's a key to survival and overcoming. Thanks for watching.